This is the audio recording for the Hinduism presentation. I'm going to be changing things up just a little bit on this to try to help some folks out. And basically what's going to be happening is I'm going to do primarily be reading the slides in case somebody needs, a little bit help with that, some of the words and things that go on this. I will still say next slide when I make the changes between slides, and I may add a little additional something in here or there, but mainly I'll be focusing on just reading the slides as is. So let's get to it. Next slide. The origin of Hinduism means where it came from. Hinduism developed in ancient India around 1500 BCE. That means before Common Era, before the birth of Christ. Hinduism is the third largest religion in the world, behind Christianity and Islam. And today, Hinduism is largely practiced in India, where over 80% of Indians claim to be Hindu. So it's the main religion of India. Next slide. This is a temple in Delhi. I'm not even going to attempt the name, but it is the world's largest Hindu temple. And you can see the number of the significant number of people there and the very intricate architecture. Next slide. Polytheistic. Hindus are polytheistic, meaning they believe in many gods and goddesses. There are some gods like Shiva and Vishnu who are more significant and are worshipped more often than others. Shiva, I believe, is the god of creation and of destruction. So you have many, many different gods throughout Hinduism. Next slide. This is a statue of Shiva, and it says here 65 feet tall. So that, very, very large monuments and worship centers for the Hindu faith. Text. This is another, obviously, word for books. Hindus do not have just one holy book that they consider sacred. Instead, they have many important texts that teach proper Hindu behavior. The Vedas, which is composed of complicated prayers, rituals, and hymns, is one example. So of the many things, the Vedas would definitely be one to know. Next slide. Reincarnation. All Hindus believe in reincarnation, a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. They believe that the soul does not die with the body, but enters the body of another being, human or animal, to live another life. It's important on that note right there to understand you don't retain your memories and personality and stuff like that. You just become a brand new person with only the central part, I guess, of the soul remaining. In Hinduism, a person's karma, which is good or bad behavior in one life, determines his or her position, wealth, and social class in the next life. You live the current life well, you get a better one next time, is basically the way that works. Next slide. Some animals, like the cow, are especially sacred, and many Hindus are vegetarians. If you are very strict in your Hindu faith, you do not eat meat. Again, they believe in reincarnation, so if the soul of an ancestor has passed on and moved on and is now inhabiting that cow, you don't want to be eating the cow. Find out it's your dead Uncle Larry. That would be horrifying. Next slide. Reincarnation, as a soul is reincarnated over and over again until it is good enough to achieve moksha. And the goal of Hindus is to achieve moksha, which is peace and freedom from the cycle of reincarnation. So it's the final end result, the paradise, the heaven, whatever you want to call it, is the end result or the end goal here for Hindus is to reach this moksha. This is the Diwali Festival of Lights. It's a big celebration. You can see the lights are on the temple, and you can also see the fireworks and everything going along with it. The caste system. Hindus live by the caste system, a belief that social class is hereditary. That means it's passed on through your family and does not change throughout a person's life. Historically, the only way to change castes, those are the actual sections, was to be born into a different one in the next life. Again, if you live a good life in this life, you get a better one next time. Better social class was one of those things they mentioned. Traditional families would not let their children marry someone from another caste, which means you couldn't marry into another social class either. Many jobs in India are still awarded based on caste connections. India is trying to get rid of this. There are some efforts to change this social class system. But it is, you're talking about a system that's been in place for, a couple thousand years. It's very hard to break that kind of tradition. Next slide. The caste system divides people into 4 main classes. Those are the Brahmins at the highest level, priests and wise men. That's your highest class. Number 2 is the Kshatriyas. That's your warriors, your rulers, and your soldiers. Level 3 is your Vaishyas, which is your merchants, your traders, and your small farmers. And when it says small farmers, it is talking about the people who own the farms. Because if you look at number 4 here, the Shudras, those are your peasants and your field workers. So those are the people that actually do all the manual labor. There is a 5th caste that's considered even lower than this. They're called the Untouchables or Pariahs, who do work that no one else would do. Sometimes if you listen, every once in a while, you might hear somebody referred to as a pariah. In our language, it's a social outcast. And this is a very similar thing here. Today, however, many Hindus can achieve a higher social class through learning new skills or getting an education. So again, they are trying to get rid of this caste system, specifically where it comes to the concept of untouchables and untouchability. When we get to Gandhi, learning about him, you'll find that one of the things he was trying to do was to eliminate these social class things. Next slide. You can see a school of untouchables. These are people that were in that lowest class, but are attempting to still get an education. This is very early on in the 1900s, so over 100 years ago.